Hello, BookTube. I have some mail for you. The first mail haul of the week. There's some manila envelopes and let's see here, a couple of big white envelopes, no boxes, no real cardboard. But you never know. You don't need those things in order for it to be something good. I trust that you have all watched SFF 180, the other reliable mail opening channel where you will get new releases, all science fiction and fantasy. This will not be all science fiction and fantasy. Part of me, of course, an old style fan that wishes, but I'm not as connected as Thomas. So let's see, what have we got here? This is from Grove Atlantic, and this comes out in early July. This looks kind of good. This is by Paul Dickinson, and it's called The Rise of the GI Army, 1940 to 1941, the forgotten story of how America forged a powerful army before Pearl Harbor. Well, this is going to be part of a series. Most people would say, if asked, that the United States entered World War II right after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, which we did immediately declare war on Japan and Germany. Planning for that eventuality had begun 2 years earlier, when the U.S. Army had shrunk to 189,000 men, not enough to defend our own shores, much less fight across oceans. This book chronicles how, in a mere 2 years, the Army was transformed from scattered ragtag units into a powerful, disciplined fighting force capable of taking on Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. Dixon recreates the pivotal moments in this dramatic mobilization. Okay. And who is Paul Dixon? That name sounds awful familiar. The author of many books of nonfiction, including The Electronic Battlefield, War Slang, Sputnik, The Shock of the Century. That's the one I read. I read his book on Sputnik. And The Bonus Army. He concentrates on writing about 20th century history, the American language, and baseball. And he lives in Garrett Park, Maryland. Okay, fantastic. I don't know. I don't get a sense of whether or not this is going to be part of a series, but as a book on its own, this is fantastic. And lesser known. The publisher's entirely right. We don't think about the U.S. Army growing before Pearl Harbor. All right, fantastic. We're off to a nice historical start. Let's see what we have next here. Oh my! Oh goodness gracious! Okay. All right, we'll move from history to science. You all ready? We're ready for some science. This comes out in early June, and it's about the end of everything, astrophysically speaking, of course. This is by Katie Mack. Let's see here. We know the universe started with the Big Bang, but how is it going to end? This book takes readers on a mind-bending tour of 5 universe-ending possibilities proposed by cosmologists, narrating each with wit and humor that will almost make you forget about what the end times mean for us. With her widely popular Twitter account, and now as the first female astrophysicist to write a major trade book, Mack joins the likes of Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson in realizing that you don't have to work in a lab to contemplate the biggest mysteries of the universe, and instead presents the average reader with an upbeat and accessible look at the questions she herself has been thinking about since the age of 18, when she first realized that our universe and everything in it can end at any moment. Oh, but I don't think it can end at any moment, right? That would, I think, if it would end just at any moment, that would be a violation of the laws of physics, wouldn't it? I don't know. I guess I'll find out. I won't find out right away because this is June, and I'm still I'm grappling with March. But still, that sounds fascinating. All right, this next one is fairly heavy. Could be a finished copy or a big fat advanced copy of something. Let's see. Oh goodness. No, it's a finished copy. It's a big finished copy. What have we got here? From Harvard University Press. Well, this is looking like a David Murphy book. What have we got? This is by Julia Cage. The Price of Democracy, How Money Shapes Politics and What to Do About It. Yeah, I'm thinking this is a David Murphy book. Why and how systems of political financing and representation in Europe and North America give outsized influence to the wealthy and undermine democracy, and what we can do about it. Political money is a hot topic around the world today, not only in the US, but also in Europe, India, and Brazil. Electoral democracies are in crisis. Turnout is at its lowest point in the history, particularly among the most disadvantaged socioeconomic groups. Yes, those two sentences could be linked together, right? Electoral democracies are in crisis because turnout is at its lowest. At least that is true in America. If everyone in America with a franchise voted, they could have whatever kind of government they want. If everyone in America who has a vested interest voted, well, anyway, in this vivid and timely book, the author, one of Europe's rising young economists, argues that the solution involves a radical rethinking of our system of political finance, participation, and representation. She's a rising young economist. And she's lovely. BookTube's only rising young economist is David Murphy. We got rooked. So what can we learn about her? She's assistant professor of economics at Sciences Po in Paris. Sciences Po, P-O, in Paris. A specialist in media economics, political economy, and economic history. She's the author of Saving the Media, Capitalism, Crowdfunding, and Democracy. Oh my. Okay. Great. All right, so this comes out at the very end of March. Hence I'm getting the finished copy, but I don't think I ever got an advance copy of this. Okay, the very end of March. That's coming right up. So if this is a David Murphy book, it's got to get in the mail right away. Let's see here. Well, it's certainly not a Steve book, so if it's going to go to anybody, it's going to get reviewed. It's going to get reviewed by him. So let's see here. What is this next one? Oh my. Okay, I've heard about this. This comes out in late May. This is by David Bell, and it is called Men on Horseback: The Power of Charisma in the Age of Revolution. Heard about this. I've heard some encouraging things about this. Let's see here. The word charisma may trace its origins to ancient Greece, but its meaning has never been fixed in the solid schist. its meaning has never been fixed in the solid schist, S-C-H-I-S-T. The publicist who wrote this sheet needs to get out more often, I would say, of classical Athens. Does classical Athens have a solid schist? I don't know. For St. Paul, to possess charisma was to be filled with divine grace. For Max Weber, it demonstrated how authority could be wielded successfully in defiance of tradition. In this book, the author argues that charisma's contemporary resonance is best understood by refracting it through the lives of 5 extraordinary revolutionaries. One of those revolutionaries that I can see just by looking at this cover had no charisma whatsoever. Let's see who those 5 are. They are Napoleon Bonaparte, George Washington, Pascal Paoli, Toussaint Louverture, and Simon Bolivar. Those are our 5 figures. Okay. All right. Well, so we're going to study. Is that literally what's going to happen? We're just going to go chapter by chapter. Let's take a look. Yes, we are. We are going to go chapter by chapter. Okay. All right. Well, some of those I don't know enough about. Some of those people I don't know enough about. And some of them I know a lot about. I know a lot about Simon Bolivar. And I know a lot about Napoleon Bonaparte. And I know a lot about George Washington. So this is going to be a fascinating thing to do. All right. Okay. Men on horseback. Charisma. All right. A study of historical charisma. How interesting. All right. And then this last one. Gigantic. Big as a surfboard. Let's see what we have here. Every time Thomas at SFF 180 opens one of these big white packages, he's got a delicious fantasy novel in there. Oh. Steve likes delicious fantasy novels. I don't go to the conventions. I don't know these authors. I'm no SFF 180. Oh, you're kidding me. Okay. All right. Okay. I believe this is a giant fantasy novel. So I guess maybe I spoke too soon. I know this book. I know the series anyway. This is Legends of the Condor Heroes. This is book 2, A Bond Undone by Jin Yong, translated by Gigi Chang. Very pretty things. I wonder if I have a picture of book 1, which was, what was the first one? A Hero Born, I think it was what it's called. This is A Bond Undone. Lovely intaglio spine like that. So this comes out, oh my, okay, this comes out in late March. Is this a finished? It is. This is a finished paperback. Okay, that's odd. I thought the first one was a hardcover. Did the first one not do well? Why is this a trade paperback original? Huh. Okay, well anyway, let's see about it. Let's see here. Um, in the Jin capital of Zhongdu, Guo Jing learns the truth of his father's death and finds he is now betrothed against his will to two women, neither of whom is his sweetheart, Lotus Hong. Torn between following his heart and fulfilling his filial duty, Guo Jing journeys through the country of his parents with Lotus, encountering mysterious martial heroes and becoming drawn into the struggle for the supreme martial text, the Nine Yin Manual. But his past is catching up with him. The widow of an evil man he accidentally killed as a child is tracking him down, intent on revenge. Meanwhile, his true parentage at last revealed, Yang Kang, the young prince Gu Zhong must face in the garden of 8 drunken immortals, is forced to choose his destiny. Will he continue to enjoy the life of wealth and privilege afforded him by the invader of his homeland, or give up all he has known to avenge his parents? I'm not hearing a fantasy element. I may be wrong about this. This may just be opulent historical fiction. I could have sworn the first one, A Hero Born, I could have sworn that was fantasy. It doesn't tell me any more about that then. Well, all right, let's find out about the author. Well, in A Bond Undone, the sequel to A Hero Born, Gu Jing must find the ancient scrolls that grant the ultimate kung fu magic. Okay, so a mention of magic anyway. The author is a true phenomenon. A true phenomenon of the Chinese-speaking world. Born in mainland China, he spends most of his life writing novels and editing newspapers in Hong Kong. His enormously popular martial arts novels have become modern classics and remain must-reads for readers looking for danger and adventure. Okay, so I need to find somewhere in the rabbit warren of this place, I need to find the first book in this series and give it a reread. But this one, I'll have to check on that. I could have sworn the first one was a hardcover. In which case, this is a little strange. Why the second book would be a paperback. Unless the first book didn't do as well as expected. That's odd. This is lovely, though. Absolutely lovely. All right, so we did end with a big book of, I guess, fantasy. The prologue description doesn't mention any fantasy elements, but the tagline in the back mentions magic. So we have A Bond Undone. Big, fat, sumptuous adventure story, at least, in China. Then Men on Horseback, a study of charisma through the lives of 5 revolutionaries. The Price of Democracy by a rising young economist. The End of Everything, astrophysically speaking, about the end of the universe. And finally, The Rise of the GI Army. This is the building up of the American Army before Pearl Harbor, before people started to be shipping out all over the world. Fascinating. And a subject I don't think I have another book on. So there you go. That's your first mail haul of the week, full of questions, full of fun stuff. So I'm going to wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.